Top 4 best lunch foods to flush kidney toxins and restore function fast. Right now, somewhere inside your body, two small organs are quietly filtering 50 gallons of blood every single day, and most people will never know when they start to slow down. There are no alarms, no warning signs, just fatigue that creeps in out of nowhere, swelling around your ankles that you brush off as standing too long, or a foggy feeling you write off as simply getting older. Here's the part that might genuinely surprise you. The biggest threat to your kidneys isn't hiding in some rare food or exotic toxin you've never heard of. It's sitting on your plate at lunch, 5 days a week, disguised as something completely normal, something you've eaten 1,000 times without a second thought. Fast sandwiches, salty deli meat, a bag of chips, and a soda might feel harmless in the moment, but stacked up over months and years, that combination quietly forces your kidneys to work overtime, meal after meal, with almost nothing on the plate to help them recover. And the fix might be simpler, cheaper, and stranger than you'd ever expect. Today, we're revealing the top 4 lunch foods that could help flush toxins, calm inflammation, and support your kidneys' natural ability to filter, repair, and protect themselves. Some of these choices will make perfect sense the moment you hear them. One of them, though, is going to catch almost everyone watching completely off guard. Stick around, because number 1 is not what you think. Let's start the countdown at number 4. Number 4 on our list is cauliflower, and if you've walked past it in the produce aisle 100 times without a second glance, you're about to change your mind for good. Most people dismiss cauliflower as bland, pale, forgettable, the vegetable equivalent of white noise. But hidden inside that unassuming head of florets is something your kidneys have been quietly craving for years. A half cup of cooked cauliflower contains only about 90 milligrams of potassium, roughly 20 milligrams of phosphorus, and almost no sodium at all. Those numbers might sound abstract, but here's why they matter so much more than you'd expect. As kidney function naturally shifts with age, even gradually, and years before any formal diagnosis, the body slowly loses some of its ability to clear excess potassium and phosphorus from the bloodstream. Left unchecked over time, that quiet buildup has been linked to fatigue, muscle weakness, irregular heartbeat, and long-term bone and cardiovascular complications that seem to appear suddenly, but were actually years in the making. Choosing a food that's naturally low in both minerals gives your kidneys a rare, genuine moment of rest at every single meal. But here's the twist. Cauliflower isn't just safe, it's actually working behind the scenes the entire time. It contains glucosinolates, plant compounds your body converts into isothiocyanates, which researchers have studied closely for their role in reducing oxidative stress and boosting the body's own natural detoxification enzymes. Add in a solid dose of vitamin C to fight off free radical damage, vitamin K to support bone density and blood vessel strength, folate to assist in cellular repair, and a gentle fiber boost that helps regulate blood sugar and ease pressure on the kidney's filtering units. And suddenly this boring vegetable starts to look like one of the smartest lunch choices you could possibly make. Try it riced as a low-potassium stand-in for rice or couscous, roasted with olive oil and garlic until deeply golden, or mashed with a splash of olive oil in place of potatoes, which spike potassium fast the moment they're cooked. It's quiet. It's cheap. It's sitting in nearly every grocery store in America right now, usually priced lower than the rice or potatoes it's replacing. And here's a small detail almost nobody mentions. Boiling cauliflower and discarding the cooking water, a technique nutritionists sometimes call leaching, can lower its potassium content even further, which is useful information if you're following a stricter, doctor-supervised renal diet. For most adults simply trying to get ahead of kidney decline before it starts, though, a plain roasted or steamed serving does the job. It just might be one of the most underrated lunch foods for kidney support you've never seriously tried. But as impressive as cauliflower is, what's coming up next at number 3 is going to genuinely surprise you. Number 3 is a food most people associate with snacking, not healing, and that alone should tell you something. The red bell pepper. Bright, crunchy, almost impossible to ignore sitting in your crisper drawer, and yet almost nobody thinks of it as a kidney-protective food. That's about to change permanently. A half cup of chopped red bell pepper contains around 150 milligrams of potassium, roughly 10 milligrams of phosphorus, and barely a trace of sodium, landing comfortably inside the safe zone that kidney-conscious eating plans specifically look for. But here's where it gets genuinely interesting. Red bell peppers are one of the richest natural sources of vitamin C you'll find anywhere in the produce section, containing even more per serving than an equivalent amount of orange, a fact that surprises almost everyone the first time they hear it. And because your body can't store large reserves of vitamin C for later, getting a steady daily supply through food helps continuously neutralize the oxidative stress that quietly builds up inside kidney tissue from everyday metabolism, environmental exposure, and simple, unavoidable aging. There's more hiding inside that crunchy shell, too. Red peppers contain quercetin and capsanthin, plant pigments studied closely for their anti-inflammatory effects, and chronic low-grade inflammation is now believed to be one of the central, silent drivers behind the slow decline in kidney filtration that many adults quietly experience after 50, often without ever being told, without ever seeing a single symptom until it's advanced. By feeding your body anti-inflammatory foods on a regular basis, you're not just managing symptoms after the fact, you're addressing one of the actual root causes before it ever becomes a bigger, more expensive problem. Red bell peppers also support healthy blood vessels throughout the body, and since your kidneys depend on a dense, delicate web of microscopic vessels called glomeruli to filter your blood around the clock, anything that protects vascular health elsewhere in the body is quietly, indirectly protecting your kidneys too. On top of all that, red peppers supply a meaningful amount of vitamin B6, a nutrient involved in how your body metabolizes protein, meaning it can subtly help your body process protein byproducts a little more efficiently, taking one more small task off your kidney's plate. Sliced raw and paired with hummus, tossed into a crisp lunch salad, roasted until soft for easier digestion, or blended into a chilled summer soup, red peppers are as flexible as they are protective. And unlike some vegetables that lose much of their nutrient value the moment heat touches them, red bell peppers hold onto a large share of their vitamin C content, whether you eat them raw or cooked, which means there's no wrong way to fit them into a busy weekday lunch. That flexibility is nothing, though. Absolutely nothing, compared to what's waiting for you at number 2, a food so common you probably already have it sitting in your kitchen right now, but you've almost certainly never used it quite this way. Number 2 might be the single most unexpected entry on this entire list: garlic. It seems far too small, too ordinary, too cheap to make a real difference in something as serious as kidney health. But garlic carries an outsized, almost disproportionate amount of protective power, and it starts with something nearly everyone underestimates: salt. One of the sneakiest, slowest-moving threats to long-term kidney health is chronic high-sodium intake, which raises blood pressure and forces your kidney's delicate filtering units to work under constant, grinding pressure, wearing them down year after year without you ever noticing until the damage is already done. Garlic happens to be one of the most effective natural replacements for salt that exists in your kitchen. It delivers a bold, satisfying, almost addictive flavor that can replace much of the sodium in a dish without sacrificing taste at all, making it one of the simplest, most immediate tools for cutting your daily sodium load. A shift that kidney health guidelines consistently rank among the single most protective changes a person can make. But that's genuinely only the beginning. Garlic contains allicin, a powerful sulfur-based compound that's only released when it's crushed or chopped. And allicin has been studied specifically for its cardiovascular effects, including modest but real improvements in blood pressure and blood vessel function. Since blood pressure control ranks among the top 2 or 3 factors in preserving long-term kidney health over a lifetime, garlic's role here is far from a minor footnote. It also carries meaningful anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties, chipping away at the oxidative burden, building inside kidney tissue through a completely different chemical pathway than the vegetables we've already covered on this list. Some research has also looked at garlic's effect on healthy cholesterol levels, and because cardiovascular health and kidney health are so closely intertwined, with poor blood vessel function in one system often quietly mirrored in the other, protecting your arteries at lunch is, in a very real sense, protecting your kidneys at the same time. And because it's used in such small quantities per serving, garlic barely registers on your potassium or phosphorus totals at all, meaning you get all of this protective power without adding a single ounce to your kidney's daily workload. Mince it fresh into a stir-fry, whisk it into a homemade dressing to skip the sodium-loaded bottled versions sitting in your fridge, or roast it whole and spread it onto whole-grain bread like a savory, kidney-friendly butter. Just one important caution worth knowing before you go overboard: concentrated garlic, especially in supplement form, can interact with blood-thinning medications, so anyone currently on prescription blood thinners should check with their doctor before increasing intake dramatically. Used simply as an everyday cooking ingredient, though, garlic remains one of the most accessible, most sodium-fighting foods you could possibly add to lunch, and it costs pennies compared to most seasoning blends lined up on grocery store shelves, many of which are loaded with hidden sodium under names you'd never recognize. But nothing, and we mean nothing, on this list compares to what's coming up right now at number 1, the food that might completely change how you think about protein forever. And here it is, the number 1 lunch food for kidney support, the one we teased at the very start, egg whites. Protein is essential at every age, but as kidney function naturally shifts over the years, the type of protein you choose starts to matter just as much as how much of it you actually eat. And that single overlooked detail is exactly why egg whites take the crown at number 1. A whole egg is nutritious, sure, nobody's arguing that, but the yolk carries almost all of the phosphorus, roughly 90 milligrams, compared to just around 5 milligrams sitting inside the white. For kidneys that are already working overtime to clear phosphorus out of your blood, that difference adds up fast across a full week of ordinary lunches. Egg whites give you complete, high-quality protein containing all 9 essential amino acids your body cannot produce on its own, while keeping phosphorus, potassium, and saturated fat remarkably, almost surprisingly low. One large egg white delivers about 4 grams of protein for roughly 17 calories, virtually no fat whatsoever, and only around 55 milligrams of potassium, making it one of the most efficient, lowest-burden protein sources available anywhere in your grocery store. Here's why that matters more than most people realize. Protein breakdown produces byproducts like urea and creatinine, and it's your kidney's constant, unglamorous job to clear those out of your bloodstream every single hour of every single day. Choosing a lean, complete protein like egg whites lets you meet your daily needs while minimizing the extra phosphorus and saturated fat that heavier protein sources, like red meat or full-fat dairy, would pile straight onto that same relentless workload. Egg whites also contain small amounts of riboflavin and selenium, both of which play supporting roles in your body's antioxidant defense systems, adding one more quiet layer of protection on top of an already impressive nutritional profile. For lunch, a vegetable-loaded egg white omelet with spinach, red bell pepper, and just a hint of garlic actually brings this entire list full circle into a single meal, quietly combining nearly everything we've talked about today into one plate. Hard-boiled egg whites travel beautifully for salads and grain bowls, and egg white wraps, now widely available in most major grocery stores, make a smart, lower-sodium swap for traditional bread or tortillas. One important note, though, if you or someone you love is managing advanced kidney disease or dialysis, protein needs can actually shift, and sometimes increase, at that stage of treatment. So any major dietary change should always be made together with a nephrologist or renal dietitian, never from general advice alone, no matter how well-researched that advice might be. For everyone else simply trying to get ahead of kidney decline before it ever starts, this one small swap, choosing the white over the whole egg just a few times a week, is about as close to a free upgrade as nutrition gets. So there you have it. 4 lunch foods that might just be the missing piece your kidneys have been quietly waiting for this entire time. Cauliflower for its low mineral load and detox-boosting compounds, red bell peppers for antioxidant and anti-inflammatory firepower most people never expect, garlic for real blood pressure support without a single grain of added sodium, and egg whites for clean, efficient, remarkably kidney-friendly protein. None of this requires an extreme diet overhaul, no expensive supplements, no complicated meal plans, and no giving up flavor to eat this way. Just a few smarter, more intentional swaps at 1 meal a day, 5 days a week, repeated consistently enough that your kidneys actually start to notice the difference. If this opened your eyes even a little, even just about one of these 4, hit like, subscribe for more science-backed health content just like this, and tell us in the comments which one of these 4 foods you're adding to your lunch this week. Was it the one you expected, or did number 1 catch you completely off guard too? And if you're already managing an existing kidney condition, always check with your doctor or a renal dietitian before making any major changes to your diet.